I do a little bit, not as much as I used to with skating. I like to paint. I love to paint. I don't do it very often, but I do get a knack for doing creative things like that. And I love to color. I know it's kind of juvenile, but I love coloring and coloring books and doing that type of thing. As soon as I quit skating, I joined, our high school put on a play every year. So I joined the play so I could be in the play. So that kind of helped. And I find too, like when I go out with my friends to go dancing or something, that is the hugest release of that. That's the biggest release I have. It's because I feel like it's so built up. So as soon as we go out dancing, that's all I want to do. I just miss that part. I miss being able to be dramatic and creative, and like I love the acting side of it and being in touch with music. I loved that, and I don't have that anymore. And that's where I get it, is when we go out. Gosh, I was always a fan, it's kind of cliche, but I was always a fan of Michelle Kwan. I just loved her growing up. Jamie Salé and David Pelche, the pairs team, I thought were always very good at that, and they were Canadian, so that was kind of a closer connection between them and I. And Alexei Yagudin, I had a seminar with him, like he's coached, I've had coaching from him, and he's an icon in the skating world. And I thought, and it was back in the day where the artistic component was a big deal, a smaller component, and he wasn't given as much credit, I think, as he deserved for that, because he was always very good at that. Mm-hmm. I don't go back to skating. I've tried. I don't like it. I tried, there's open ice sessions at Ian Stewart. I tried going back, but the skating world is very small, so I see people that I used to see, and I feel like they judge me. And it's like, I don't want to be here. Like I don't want to see the old coaches or anything, so it's very hard to go back. I do it for fun sometimes with my friends, but that's also kind of hard to do. It's just kind of sad. But so now, instead of doing that, training at the gym was always a big part of my training outside of skating. So I always do that. I love that part of my life. I also run. I love to hike. I've tried playing team sports, but I'm just not a team player. It's just, after 11 years of being a single, like doing single sport, there's no way I could be a team player. So, but I still surf and snowboard and that type of stuff. As soon as I stopped, the coaches asked me to come and do some coaching for them. Mm-hmm. Or I did some choreography for some of the younger girls, which I like doing, but it's still the same, like, politics and stuff being a part of that, and I just wasn't interested in it anymore. It's like, I've had enough of this, like, so I stopped. I just didn't want to be around that anymore. Yeah, I was working with a psychologist who helped me quit, and she was very influential and very supportive. And my coach was also very helpful. She sat me down when I quit the second time, and she was like, make a pros and cons list, and like why you're quitting, like what the benefit is and what the cons are going to be. And she kind of prepared me for kind of the aftermath of all of it. She was very, very helpful, and she's one of my best friends today. Like, I see her almost, like, every time I go home, I sit down and chat with her, so. Because I was in a spotlight in a small town, all of a sudden when you stop, that's not there anymore. And she told me, like, you're gonna feel like, oh, no one cares about me anymore, which surprisingly I never felt, because I felt like this was the right thing to do, and I didn't want that anyways, so it was kind of a relief not to have that. But the socialization part, I don't think I was prepared enough for. I made a lot of mistakes along the way because I just didn't understand how to socialize with peers my age. Because I was 12 and they were like, I was 12 socially and they were 17, 18, so I had to catch up. So I was still pretty immature. And I think one thing I wish someone would have prepared me for, which I think not a lot of people talk about, is dating. Because I was 12 socially, I looked 18, 19 maybe, and was dating some people that were 23, 24, 25, but socially I was 12 years old. So the mismatch was just brutal. It was brutal and very hard. Well, after I quit, I stopped talking to the sports psychologist. She was very expensive to talk to, so we didn't do that anymore, but I was put with another counselor, and I talked to her a bit about it. I probably should have talked to her more about it. But it didn't really happen until my later years in university when I was kind of on my own. So when I got here, that was when the most awkward things happened. And I didn't really have support in that area because my friends from town who knew my background, I didn't have anymore either. So I was here with friends that didn't know what my past was, so they didn't really understand. And I was dating people that didn't understand or know anything about my past. And I didn't really know the outlets that we had at the university for help like that. I think I didn't know I had a problem. Now I do. I look back and I'm like, oh my God. But during the time I thought that was normal for everyone. But I look back on it and the mismatch was so big that I don't think it's like that for everyone. I think it's sometimes like that at a lesser extent, or at a smaller extent. So I didn't know that was something I needed to deal with till I was older. So I didn't know to go to anyone. If someone told me, this is gonna be awkward for a while, it's gonna be embarrassing for a while, because you're trying to figure out your place, your path. You're trying to catch up. And if someone would have told me that, then I wouldn't think that there was something wrong with me, which I did. So now I'm pretty much caught up, but that was a very painful, frustrating, embarrassing time that I wasn't prepared for. And I wish someone would have told me that that's normal for someone that went through what I went through. I've always been relieved. I've always been happy that I made that decision. I think I should have made the decision to stop earlier. There's times I miss it. I have dreams sometimes. When I'm sleeping, I'll wake up and I can still feel like a perfect double axel when I'm sleeping in a dream. So those times I miss it. But I was never depressed. I was never really sad. I was always happy that I did it. I think what my coach told me is that I think all sport, there's many benefits from sport. And I don't want to leave that out. Like I have many strengths and many benefits from the structure skating gave me. But as soon as that structure becomes a prison and the fun and the enjoyment is dying, you either need to make a change to bring that enjoyment back, because that's really the only reason you need to do it. Especially at a young age when you're not making money, it's not your livelihood, it's supposed to be for enjoyment. As soon as that begins to disappear, not when it is disappear, like not when it's gone, as soon as you feel it's starting to disappear, a change needs to happen. Something is not right. So, because I don't see why someone at 14 should be spending 60 hours a week on something they don't enjoy. That's too young. for anyone really, but at 14 that's too young. So the structure that it's given me, I'm very good at time management, which in university is essential if you're taking like 5-6 courses at a time and want to do well. The drive I have from skating to push for something, to know that after 3 years of working on something, you can still be successful, that gives me hope with stuff that I experience now. So if you're working on a project or you're working on an honors project, which I am now, and it's just you're just dogging it, you know that if you keep pushing and you keep working, that something will come out of it. If you love it and you push and you put the homework in, you put the time in, something will come out of it. So that I've learned from skating. I've also learned to listen to myself, that my feelings that I have aren't just fleeting, they're there for a reason. Especially when you're unsure about something, you should probably follow that feeling. And when you're sad, like when you're sad in life, if you're unhappy in life, saying, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, is okay. It's okay to do something like that. It's okay to walk away from a relationship or to walk away from a friendship that makes you unhappy, or to do something like that at 15. I had a teacher tell me that that's very brave to stand up to adults and say, hey, you're wrong, I'm not doing this anymore. So now that's transitioned to help me do that as I get older. Yeah, I think it would be beneficial. I think the problem is that everyone is individual and their situation is individual. So finding a support system for that athlete in that situation, there needs to be flexibility, like there needs to be options, because some people might not experience quitting sport like I have. So a support system, I think, would be totally beneficial if the option was there. But there would have to be like different components. Like there'd have to be a psychological component. There would have to be like a life component, because some people are 26 when they quit and they have to move, or that part is always difficult too, or financially that is sometimes a problem. So I think there would just have to be different outlets if that would be put in place. I think there's a little bit of fear, because I was so passionate about skating and it didn't work. It didn't work the way I wanted it to work, that I'm almost fearful that if I do that again, that it won't work, or that it will be as a painful experience as I've had. So I'm fearful to put that type of passion into a sport or competitive environment again, because I don't want it to be ruined. Because I've worked this hard to build it up in a healthy way, that I don't want it to fall apart again. So I put it into smaller things. So like hiking, I love doing, and as soon as I find that it's becoming like an obligation, like, oh, like I'm gonna do it every day this week, and I miss a day and I feel guilty about it, I'll just step away, because it's not an obligation. I put it into running. I've done a couple of races. I've put it into going to the gym. I'm very passionate about, and strength and conditioning I'm very passionate about, so I've put it into that. And I think it just helped me develop into a very like passionate person. Like if anyone that knows me, I'm very like, as soon as I want to do something, I will push my way through to do it. Like in life, I'm just very passionate now too, which I don't know if is a cause or effect. I'm not sure which one it is, but. I think as soon as I stopped skating, it was a fear. I was very fearful. I think I still am a little bit. I'm afraid of becoming sick again. I'm afraid of becoming obsessed again. I'm afraid of it taking over my life again, because I know that's a risk, because I've done it once before. So I'd have to do it in small doses. I just have to make sure I go slow and do it in small doses, because I can't let that happen to me again. My relationship with food was very distorted, and exercise was very distorted. So as soon as you go to university and get on campus and live in residence, that goes way out the window, because you only have one choice for food, and exercise becomes a necessity, not an obligation anymore, to be healthy. And my coach explained that to me. It's not you're going to train today. It's like, oh, I should go for a walk today because I don't want to be 600 pounds when I go home, for Christmas or whatever. So it took a while to become a healthy outlook on that type of thing. But now for protection, because now I do have a healthy outlook, I'm more knowledgeable. I think being in the Kines program, I'm more knowledgeable about nutrition and how to exercise and how much exercise is necessary to maintain a healthy lifestyle. That's really helped me, because I have knowledge to rely on, not just what some coach told me from 1974. It's science, it's a textbook that I can read from to know that that is what is expected of me, which is much smaller and a lot less than what was expected of me when I was 15. I think because I wanted it so bad, because I was so starved for that type of lifestyle, I don't find it difficult. I never did find it that difficult. It's more enjoyable. It's like, this is what it's supposed to be like. This is what life is supposed to be like. I'm supposed to have an hour where my friend calls me up and goes, hey, do you want to go to the movies? It's like, oh, well, I have an hour, which I didn't used to have. So it feels normal, which makes me think like we all have that set inside of us. It's not something that is created. That's how life is supposed to be. It usually starts a little bit of an argument, so we kind of stay away from it, because I think I have a little bit of resentment because I was so young and poor choices were made for me. So it does start an argument. So we don't talk about it a ton, but she does recognize the fact that it was insane, that it got way out of control. And then too, like, my mom's a single mom, so the pressure on her was like a lot more than if you had two parents. So we don't talk about it a lot because it's hurtful to both of us, I think. I think it'll always be there. I don't think I'll ever get rid of that, because I took something from my sister's childhood. So that's kind of painful. But that part sucks. But we're close now because of it, and I appreciate everything that she's done.
Is she at home, or where she is now?
She's in Nanaimo. She's half living in Victoria and half living in Nanaimo for some family circumstances that we have right now, but we're always close. So it's one of those people that you can call up for anything that you need. So. She was very athletic. Now that university has kind of taken a toll on her too, she's kind of fallen into more business type of like lifestyle. She's very good at like accounting and finances, and she likes doing that sort of thing. The activity in her, though, like the softball and hockey and soccer, still part of her life, just a smaller part, I think. It was a long road. I think it was a painful and bumpy road, but I think I'm stronger because of it. And I've noticed that with my peer group, with my peers now, is that you can throw something at me and I will take that challenge and deal with it. Whereas a lot of people crumble with difficult situations. And that's where I think succeed more, is when you put me in a difficult position. So I think it's been good. I still haven't got totally caught up in the socialization part yet. I'm still kind of getting there, but for the most part, I think I've done really well. Like I have lots of friends, and I'm doing quite a bit better with my family, and I've done really well in school, and have a lot of future stuff to look forward to, and it's good. It's better.